The mask we wore until it cracked. You know what nobody tells you about survival mode? That it has an expiration date. That one day you'll wake up and realize the cape you've been wearing, the one everyone praised you for, the one that made you indispensable, is actually suffocating you. And the worst part, you put it on yourself. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Nicole Jones, a woman whose story is a masterclass in what it means to reclaim your life after years of living for everyone but yourself. Nicole is someone who has dedicated her life to caring for the sick, bringing compassion and healing to those who need it most. She spent decades in healthcare, showing up for others with a level of tenderness that can only come from someone who understands what it means to suffer. At 53 years old, Nicole is living proof that it's never too late to choose yourself, to step into unconditional love, and to find the kind of happiness that doesn't require permission from anyone else. Her work touches lives every single day. And her story, well, her story is going to touch yours. Nicole is someone who spent decades hiding behind a mask of perfection, enduring infidelity, health challenges, and depression, all while the world saw her as strong, capable, unshakable. But here's what Nicole taught me, what she's teaching thousands through her work and her willingness to be vulnerable. Strength isn't about how much you can carry, it's about knowing when to put it down. Nicole's journey is one of those stories that makes you sit up straighter, that makes you check yourself. Because if you're someone who spent years being the glue, the problem solver, the one who holds it all together, you're going to see yourself in her story. And maybe, just maybe, you'll finally give yourself permission to stop. Let me tell you something about masks. They're comfortable at first. You wear one long enough, and it starts to feel like your actual face. Nicole wore hers for years. She was the wife, the caregiver, the woman who showed up no matter what, even when her marriage was falling apart, even when her health was deteriorating, even when depression was whispering that she'd never be enough, never be loved, never be free. She was told explicitly that because of her health issues, she wouldn't live a normal, productive life, that she'd never find someone who would love her unconditionally. Can you imagine being told that your worth is conditional, that your body, your circumstances, your struggles make you unlovable? And yet she believed it because when you're in survival mode, you don't question the narrative, you just survive. But here's the thing about survival mode, it's not sustainable, it's not a lifestyle, it's a temporary state that we've normalized into permanence. And Nicole's story is proof that there's another side. At 53 years old, she's living the happiest life she's ever known. She's loved unconditionally. She's making a profound difference in the lives of others through her compassion and care for the sick. She's not just surviving anymore, she's thriving. And she did it by doing the one thing most of us are terrified to do. She stepped out on faith. Now, let's talk about faith for a second, because faith isn't just about religion, though for many of us, including Nicole, it's deeply tied to our spiritual foundation. Faith is about believing in something you can't see yet. It's about taking that first step when the staircase isn't fully lit. Nicole didn't have a roadmap when she decided to leave that difficult marriage. She didn't have a guarantee that things would get better, but she had faith. And that faith, combined with her willingness to seek healing and rediscover who she was, beyond the role she'd been assigned, changed everything. Here's what I learned from Nicole's story and what I want you to hear today. Resilience isn't about enduring, it's about evolving. It's not about how much pain you can tolerate. It's about recognizing when the pain is no longer serving you and choosing something different. Nicole faced infidelity. She faced a lack of independence. She faced health issues that made her question her future. She faced depression that told her she wasn't worthy of love. And for years, She hid all of it behind a mask of perfection because that's what we do, right? We smile, we show up, we perform, we make everyone else comfortable while we're dying inside. But resilience, real resilience, is what happened next. It's when Nicole decided that she was done hiding, that she was done shrinking, that she was done letting other people's limitations define her possibilities. She stepped out on faith, sought healing, and began the hard, beautiful work of rediscovering her identity, not as someone's wife, not as someone's caregiver, but as Nicole, whole, worthy, free. And that brings me to the second thing Nicole's story teaches us. Self discovery isn't selfish, it's sacred. We live in a world that tells women, especially Black women, especially women over a certain age, that their value is tied to what they do for others, that rest is laziness, that boundaries are rude, that saying no is selfish. And so we spend our lives performing roles that were never meant to define us. Nicole spent years being defined by her marriage, by her health struggles, by the expectations others placed on her. And when she finally started asking herself who she was beyond all of that, everything shifted. She found independence. She found happiness. She found unconditional love, not because she became someone different, but because she became more herself. Here's the uncomfortable truth: most of us don't know who we are. We know who we've had to be, we know the roles we've played, but underneath all of that, there's a version of us that's been waiting patiently, quietly, for us to finally pay attention. Nicole's journey of self discovery wasn't easy. It involved confronting years of pain. It involved letting go of a marriage that wasn't serving her. It involved facing the lie that she wasn't worthy of love. But on the other side of that confrontation was freedom. And that freedom is what allows her to show up today at 53 as the happiest she's ever been. Now, let's talk about what happens when you're told you're not enough. When doctors, partners, society itself looks at you and says, you won't live a normal life. You won't be productive. You won't find love. Nicole heard all of that. And for a long time, she internalized it. She believed that her health issues made her less valuable, less worthy of the kind of love she deserved. She believed that her depression was something to hide, something shameful, something that confirmed she wasn't strong enough. But here's what Nicole discovered, and what I need you to understand: the lie isn't that you're not enough, the lie is that you ever needed to prove you were. Nicole didn't become worthy of love when her health improved. She didn't become deserving of happiness when she left her marriage. She was always worthy. She was always deserving. She just had to believe it. And that belief, that radical, disruptive belief in her own worth, is what changed everything. It's what allowed her to step out on faith. It's what gave her the courage to seek healing. It's what opened the door to the unconditional love she's experiencing now. Let's talk about the role of community and faith in Nicole's transformation. Because she didn't do this alone, she couldn't have. None of us can. Isolation is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves when we're struggling. We think that asking for help is a sign of weakness. We think that if we can't figure it out on our own, we've failed. But the truth is, community is where healing happens. Faith is where strength is renewed, and vulnerability is where connection is born. Nicole leaned on her faith when she had nothing else to lean on. She sought out support systems that reminded her of her worth when she couldn't see it herself. She allowed herself to be held by a community that didn't judge her for her struggles, but celebrated her courage to face them. And that's something we all need to hear. You don't have to do this alone. In fact, you can't. There's a reason why so many of us feel isolated in our pain. We've been conditioned to believe that strength means silence, that if we're really strong, we won't need help, we won't need support, we won't need anyone to hold us when we're falling apart. But that's not strength, That's survival. And survival, as we've established, has an expiration date. Nicole's willingness to be vulnerable, to admit that she was struggling, to seek out the support she needed is what saved her. And it's what's allowing her to save others now. Because when you heal, you don't just heal yourself, you heal everyone who comes into contact with you. You become a living testament to what's possible. You become proof that there's another way. And that brings me to the third lesson from Nicole's story. And this one is critical. Your pain has purpose, not in a toxic, everything happens for a reason kind of way, but in a real, tangible, I've been through this and now I can help someone else through it kind of way. Nicole didn't just survive her struggles and move on, she turned them into something sacred. She uses her story to inspire others. She uses her compassion, born from her own suffering, to care for the sick. She's living proof that your experiences, even the painful ones, can become a catalyst for helping others. But here's the thing, you can't help anyone from an empty cup. You can't empower others if you're still running on fumes. And that's where so many of us get stuck. We think that because we've survived, we have to keep surviving. We think that because we've been strong, we have to stay strong. But Nicole's story teaches us that true empowerment comes from healing first, from filling your own cup, from choosing softness over survival. Because let's be real, the world taught us survival. It taught us to hustle, to grind, to push through, to be strong. But nobody taught us how to rest, how to say no, how to protect our peace, how to be soft without feeling guilty about it. Nicole's story is a reminder that softness isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that you don't have to carry everything. It's understanding that your worth isn't tied to your productivity. It's recognizing that you deserve love, rest, joy, and peace, not because you've earned it, but because you exist. And here's where we need to get honest about what it means to choose yourself, because choosing yourself isn't a one time decision, it's a daily practice. It's waking up every morning and asking, what do I need today? It's setting boundaries even when it makes people uncomfortable. It's saying no even when you're afraid of disappointing someone. It's resting even when the to do list is screaming at you. It's believing that you are worthy of the life you want, not the life everyone else expects you to live. Nicole chose herself when she left that marriage. She chose herself when she sought healing. She chose herself when she decided that her health issues didn't define her worth. And she's choosing herself every single day by showing up as the woman she was always meant to be. So here's what I want you to take away from Nicole's story. Here's what I want you to sit with, to wrestle with, to maybe even cry about a little bit. First, resilience isn't about enduring, it's about evolving. It's about recognizing when the life you're living isn't the life you're meant for and having the courage to change it. Second, self discovery isn't selfish, it's sacred. You are not the roles you play, you are not the expectations others have placed on you. You are whole, worthy, and deserving of a life that feels like freedom. And third, your pain has purpose, not because it had to happen, but because you survived it. And now you have the opportunity to turn that survival into something that helps someone else breathe a little easier. Nicole Jones is living proof that it's never too late to choose yourself, that it's never too late to step out on faith, that it's never too late to find unconditional love, happiness, and purpose. At 53, she's not winding down, she's just getting started. And if that's not inspiration, I don't know what is. But here's where we stop talking about Nicole and start talking about you. Because this isn't just her story, this is your story too. Maybe you're not dealing with the same health issues. Maybe your marriage is fine. Maybe your depression looks different, but I guarantee you're wearing a mask somewhere. I guarantee you're carrying a cape that's too heavy. I guarantee there's a part of you that's been waiting patiently for permission to finally be free. So here's your permission. Here's your challenge. Here's your call to action. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to choose yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to rest. Stop waiting for your circumstances to change before you start believing you're worthy of love, joy, and peace. Start today, right now, in this moment. Reflect on your own journey. Where are you still in survival mode? Where are you still hiding behind a mask? Where are you still letting other people's limitations define your possibilities? And what would it look like to put it down? Share your story, not because you have to, but because someone out there needs to hear it. Someone out there is struggling with the same thing you overcame. And your willingness to be vulnerable, to be honest, to be real could be the thing that saves them. Support someone else who's struggling. Reach out, show up, be the community you wish you had when you were falling apart. Because healing isn't a solo journey, it's a collective one. And we need each other. And remember, softness is not weakness, rest is not laziness, choosing yourself is not selfish. It's the most radical, revolutionary thing you can do because the world needs you, but it needs the real you, the whole you, the you that's been waiting patiently for you to finally come home. Nicole came home to herself at 53. When are you coming home?